Best of R / Malicious Compliance episode 125. Subscribe for edit videos daily. This happened when I was around 12 years old. It was my birthday, and in the morning I came out and asked my dad what he got me for my birthday. He didn't even wish me, and he was quite busy with work as well, so just smirked and said, "I got you the bunch of bananas there." I was so upset and mad because he wouldn't even look up or wish me. I ate all 12 bananas because they were my present and I could. I'll never forget my dad's face when he found out. Thank you. Next. Essentially, due to poverty and my own self-reliance, I was raised by Sonic the Hedgehog, Crash Bandicoot and both Banjo and Kazooie. We were a poor family. I was a well-behaved child and every penny of pocket and chore money went on video games. Parents were happy because they needed to work, couldn't afford a babysitter, and the Genesis/PS/N64 were enough to keep me busy. Fast forward to today, and I've come first on several Fortnite matches, enough to say that video games remain an important part of my life. Mrs. Nasfs has always known that me and video games are a package deal, and we've even played a lot together on games such as Wii Sports, PlayStation Move and Just Dance, the latter being reluctantly, but so be it. Anyway, after nearly 15 years together, I play video games too much. Animal Crossing came out, bite me. So I agreed to play 1 hour, exactly 1 hour a day. Well, I set my timer going. The laundry needs putting out. Timer paused. There are dishes on the rack that need to be put away. Timer paused. Can you help me translate these paragraphs into English? Of course, my love. Timer paused. My boss has introduced some changes. I think she may have misunderstood. What, in your opinion, should I say to her to placate her? Timer paused. So it gets to around 10:30 PM and dear Mrs. Nasfs is yelling at me for not being in bed. But I haven't had my hour of video games, dearest. Turns out that an exact hour of video games was way more than I was getting. And I'm not renegotiating. Happy smiley face. Thank you. Next. I'm on mobile, sorry for errors. This a story from my terrible 5th grade teacher. I was still in primary school. Cast, teacher, me, principal. One day in class I was doing my work when a classmate asked me for help, so I started helping him. Little did I know helping other students was against school policy, in my teacher's words, and she told me to be silent the rest of the day. Malicious compliance activated. The rest of class I was absolutely silent. Teacher, Op, can you answer this question? Me. Teacher, Op, please answer the question. Me. Teacher, Op, you don't want me calling your parents, do you? Me. Teacher, okay, now you have to go to the principal's office. I went to the principal's office and only then broke the no talking rule. Principal, Op, why weren't you talking in class today? Me. The teacher told me not to. Principal, Op, never do something like that again. I was given a warning and my teacher was mad at me all year. I have other stories from this teacher and I can post them if you want. Sorry for the bad storytelling. English isn't my first language. Grinning face with squinting eyes and sweat drop. Thank you. Next. Saw a post here earlier about someone who stopped talking in class when their teacher told them to. Reminded me of my favorite story from the class I was a TA for in high school. So this isn't about me, something I witnessed. But in high school for my junior year I was a teacher's assistant TA for the 9th grade band class. I'd been playing flute in band since 8th grade, so this class was a breeze. Basically just teach a few kids about music and theory and stuff. One kid I taught in that class was a boy, we'll call him Jason, who was kind of known as the class clown. My sister was in his grade and would often come home to dinner with a Jason story to share, so I was excited to see if he was actually like that in class. And he definitely was. One day the kids are practicing a piece for an upcoming show. I'm taking notes in the front of the room for teaching points. Music teacher, Mrs. Cross, was conducting and trying to teach the woodwind something about the piece, but Jason, a drummer on kit, kept playing along or tapping his foot too loudly and it was distracting. Mrs. Cross asked him to be quiet a few times until she said, "Jason, stop making any kind of noise until I say your name again." "Okay," said Jason, and I thought, wow, that went well. The woodwinds learned their piece and they want to hear a few bars with full band. Mrs. Cross starts to conduct. The band sounds about as great as a 9th grade band can. but something sounds off. Made a note of it right as the music was supposed to have a big drum bit but the kit didn't hit. I look up to Jason who's paying attention, in the ready position, but Mrs. Cross was conducting and he just wasn't playing. Music stops and most kids turn to see what's happening on the drum rise, and Jason just relaxes again. Mrs. Cross asks why he didn't come in. You told me not to make noise until you said my name. You didn't say my name. I still don't know if this was malicious on purpose or not, but either way it's a fun story that gives those vibes. We all got some laughs out of it though. Mrs. Cross gave him permission to make noise again and we didn't have one of those problems for the rest of the semester. TD. Doctor. Kid in a band class I had was a drummer and wouldn't be quiet in rehearsal. Teacher said to be quiet until she says his name. They play the piece and kid doesn't start playing his part, then reminds the teacher she didn't say his name. Thank you. Next. I'm on mobile, so sorry if the formatting sucks. This was over a decade ago, in high school. We're all very familiar with some of the ridiculous dress codes that schools have, and the poorly thought out justifications for these rules. Most of the students and teachers agreed that these rules went a little over the top, and had a general agreement on what was fine and what wasn't. Not the vice principal. She seemed to be on a warpath with the dress code. This story is about the day that I ended up in her line of fire. I had a favorite pair of jeans that I wore constantly. I ended up ripping a small hole in the knee. It was maybe an inch in diameter, so I was honestly shocked she even noticed it. But oh boy, did she notice it. She went on a tirade about how inappropriate it was for me to be showing my skin. Mind you that students were allowed to wear shorts that went just above the knee, and demanding that I change. I told her that I didn't bring a change of clothes with me, to which she responded that I would be suspended if I didn't change. So I told her that I would go to the main office to call my mom and ask her to bring me a new pair of pants. We lived right around the corner, so it would only take 10 minutes tops. She seemed unprepared for me to have a resolution other than suspension, and finally decided that I had to wait for my mom in ISS. In school suspension. I had never been suspended, in school or otherwise, so I was pretty angry that this was what sent me in. My mom brought me new pants, and I went to my next class, which happened to be art. Here, I formulated an idea. I grabbed some masking tape, wrote vulgar twice in the largest font I could fit on it, and put each one on each knee of my jeans. I made sure to show off my new accessories to the assistant principal, claiming that I had found a way to ensure that no more holes ripped and my knees wouldn't show. I thought her head might pop off, but I hadn't broken the rules, so there was nothing she could do. She never bothered me about the dress code again. Thank you. Next. Okay, this isn't a brutal compliance story, it's just some brotherly love, and listening to what my sister told me to do. So, for reference, I am 15 and my sister is 14, and we are a year and a half apart. Okay, so this happened a couple days ago, and we were just doing the dishes like we do every night. My sister was doing something else for a bit while I was still rinsing the dishes to go into the dishwasher, so I was just tossing the things that could handle it easily. Tupperware, spoons, forks, measuring cups, into the dishwasher for her to sort when she got back. She saw me do this to a couple of them while she was grabbing a stool to sit on between the sink and our dishwasher. Now that she was back, I started putting them in the left half of the sink like I normally do. She got annoyed because she had just started sitting down and didn't want to get up, so she said the words that were music to my ears. Just throw the dishes. Cue annoying elder brother moves. I had just finished rinsing off a big rubbery spoon for cooking with when she said this, so naturally I just tossed it over my head in her general direction. Water flew off of it, and got her and her glasses wet, and the actual spoon bounced off her head and off to the side. She grumbles under her breath about that not being what she meant, so I said in a very cheery voice I know. I was now finished cleaning a measuring cup as she was passing behind me to put the spoon in the dishwasher, and so I tossed that, full of water by the way behind me. This one splashed her a ton, and then landed in the dishwasher. Now she got playfully annoyed and smacked the back of my head and used my shirt to dry her face and glasses. She said something like I meant just toss them into the dishwasher again, not onto me. And I said, oh, my bad. You should have been clearer. As I said, it's just a story of some brotherly love that I felt like sharing. Have a great day everybody. Edit. Some grammar and spelling fixes. Thank you. Next. First of all, sorry for writing such a long text, but I couldn't hold myself to write more about it. I hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. The high school I went to was academically successful but also a very strict school. It was so strict that we weren't even allowed to wear any socks other than white plain ones. Considering that it was a private school and everybody was there by their own choice, nobody really had a problem with that. One of the rules was, school uniform we are wearing has to be visible. Now this rule normally doesn't stand out compared to some other insane rules, but one winter season our school decided to save some money by decreasing the heating and they started to barely heat the buildings. As students, we were freezing, but when we come up with this to the principal, she said there was nothing she could do because orders were coming from up. I would like to add that she has an air conditioner in her room and she heats the room to a degree that students started to hang out near her room. So understandably we started to wear our jackets during lessons. Our teachers were okay with this since they were also wearing really thick clothes themselves. But when principal saw so many of us breaking the rules, she went berserk on us and made it very clear that our school uniforms have to be visible. After freezing the whole day, I came up with my malicious idea. Yes, indeed there was a rule that stating uniforms have to be visible, but there is actually no rule saying that we can't wear jackets or anything that kind. So wearing the school uniform on top of the jacket was technically okay, and I decided to do exactly that. I achieved to convince some of my friends to do the same as well. We were looking ridiculous and we were aware of that, but we were warm and we thought it was a cool thing that we were having a stance. When the teacher entered our classroom, he wanted us to stop joking around and wear our uniforms normally. But we defended ourselves by trying to explain we are actually following the rules and we have no other way to keep us warm and we won't stop until there is an alternative solution. The teacher decided to go with it, and when our classmates saw that we weren't forced to take the jackets off, they decided to join us. Next lesson we were with the same teacher, and I guess in the break time the principal heard some people were wearing jackets, so she decided to make a surprise visit to our class. When she entered our class she was so shocked she couldn't say anything for at least 10 seconds. What she saw was 30 plus puffy students wearing their school uniforms top of their jackets. When she came to her senses, she turned to our teacher and asked why we were like this and why he didn't do anything about it. Our teacher explained the situation and told her that we are not really breaking any rules, so he didn't see a reason to stop us and he thought it was actually nice that students were having a peaceful protest. The principal said this will be discussed later and left the room. We continued to wear our clothes like this until the end of the day, and when we were in the last lesson, the principal announced that until next notice we were allowed to wear a jacket on top of our uniform. After around 2 months later they announced their own uniform jacket and we were forced to buy and wear that, but at least we didn't freeze these 2 months. TL. Doctor. The school cut heating and didn't let us wear jackets because of uniforms must be visible rule. We wore our uniforms top of the jackets instead. Principal admitted defeat and let us wear jackets until they started to sell their own jackets.